Good evening to you and your money. I'm Bryan Hirsch, and this evening we are focusing once again on the short-term insurance industry. Over the years, various offices have been established to protect consumers in the financial services sector. The phase Ombud was created to safeguard consumers against inappropriate or poor financial advice. The pension funds adjudicator deals specifically with complaints related to pension and retirement funds. And in 2023, the short-term and long-term insurance ombudsman merged with other financial ombud schemes to form the National Financial Ombud Scheme. This consolidation created a single point of contact for consumers, making it easier and more efficient to resolve complaints across the financial services industry. And joining this evening is Edith Teixeira, McKinnon Lead Ombud of the Non-Life Insurance Division of the National Financial Ombud Scheme. Edith, lovely to have you on the program again.
Thank you.
Okay, a lot of acronyms been thrown around recently. We've had phase, now we're faced with a new one, COFI. And I haven't been able to get my head around what COFI actually does and how it changes the scenario of all these different offices. Share with us exactly, make it clearer.
So the COFI bill, it's not an act yet, is a consolidated, comprehensive regulatory framework for the conduct of financial institutions. It's there to promote and protect consumers and promote the fair treatment of financial consumers by financial institutions. It's also there to promote trust and confidence in the financial sector, inclusion, transformation, as well as assists the South African Reserve Bank to maintain a financial industry that is stable, a financial sector that is stable.
Edith, is that going to include banking?
Absolutely.
Because, if you think about all the frauds and all that's going on in banking, consumers really are so left out on a limb. There's so many situations, and the schemes and planning to get money from you to someone else is. So, do you think that will put a tighter and a better hold on that? I know that doesn't form part of yours, but just generally.
Absolutely. It will put a lot more obligation on financial institutions to provide secure platforms for banking and all other products and services.
Okay, so let's drill down to exactly what you do as short-term ombudsman office. Talk to us about exactly what you do, because we've had a lot of people who've been on the program, they've listened to the program, a lot of newcomers haven't yet listened and understand exactly what you do. Share with us.
So we offer an alternative dispute resolution forum for consumers, financial consumers who have disputes with their financial institutions, primarily insurers, short-term non-life insurers. An alternative, in other words, to courts if you're not happy with a decision made by the insurer on a claim or any other conduct by the insurer. And we offer those services free of charge to the financial consumers, and we charge the industry for complaints that are lodged against them.
Is there prescription? Because I'm thinking about people, I had something recently, someone in 2021 shared an issue with me about a motor car, knew nothing about your offices. So does prescription apply to that?
It does indeed. Prescription, but that's obviously the legal time frame within which you can contest, for example, a claim that's been rejected by your insurer. But there's also time barring, which are provisions in the policy wording which set out the timeline within which, again, you must raise any objections with the insurer and then with our office.
So let's understand practically. Insurance company repudiates a claim or doesn't necessarily repudiate it, pays out a lower amount. Are they then, the consumer then goes to that insurance company and lodges a complaint?
Correct. Insurers have to have internal dispute resolution mechanisms. So they've got to also provide those services to their customers. Only once those have been exhausted should the financial consumer go to an ombud scheme. Obviously, those that haven't exhausted internal process are also welcome to come to our scheme, and we can try and assist them. They've got a period of ordinarily 3 months to raise any objections directly with their insurer, and then on top of that they're given 6 months within which either to go to an ombud scheme or to institute legal action against their insurer. And once a complaint comes to an ombud scheme, prescription and time barring are suspended until the matter is finalized in our office, and then they will start running again after that.
Okay, so let me go back one step. Go through all the situations with the insurance company. You're still not happy. Does the insurance company, do they then ask the insurer to please send the claim to your office, or does the consumer now have to come directly to your office?
The consumer has to come to our office. There's no obligation on the insurer, only to inform you that there is an ombud scheme that is relevant to your matter and to give the details of that ombud scheme, but they don't actually have to hand in the complaint on behalf of their consumer.
So indeed, you could get a lot of, people are, no one likes to have a repudiation, and I don't need to tell you, short-term insurance often is a grudge purchase, and so people are told you don't have a claim. You must get an enormous amount of complaints that really are not complaints, or just discarded and said there's nothing we can do. Do you have to sift through all those complaints?
Absolutely, we have to investigate all of those. And we have to make findings, we have to try and mediate and conciliate, negotiate outcomes where there's a grey area. We receive, just our division within the NFO received last year about 11,000 complaints, and only in about 20% of the cases were we able to assist the consumer. In the majority of cases, the insurers are correct in their approach.
So when you say 20%, you investigate 11,000.
Yes.
You discard 80.
Yeah.
And then the 20, were you successful, or of part of the 80 left, you had to negotiate? I mean, what I'm trying to get is how many did you discard from virtually day one?
Very few.
Very few.
We will not discard, we will investigate to make sure that there are no merits in the complaint before we make that decision.
How do you get paid? Does the consumer have to pay you?
No, we levy a fee per complaint against the insurer against whom the complaint's been lodged.
Do you think, when you talk about 80% being not in favour of the consumer,
yes.
is that, do you think, do insurers actually relook at it once you've had a complaint and maybe take it back to their own internal ombudsman?
Not those that we dismiss or don't uphold the complaint, no. They'll do that when cases come to us where they have rejected and maybe they're relooking at things based on our recommendations or our discussions with them to reconsider their stance. Those will go back internally.
Okay, so two questions. First question, do you think insurers have become stricter and are sticking more to policy conditions? And the second part of that, have policy conditions become a little bit more onerous?
I think maybe yes to both, especially with COVID. And the claims that needed to be settled, as the courts ruled that what they thought was an exclusion to pandemics wasn't really an exclusion. So there were a lot of claims that insurers had to then foot the bill for, which they thought had been excluded from their liability. So I think insurers are still trying to recover from that. And perhaps they are stricter in applying conditions. I think with technology as well, they're able to investigate things a lot better, more thoroughly, and so they're able to then invoke exclusions to cover.
Well, it's lovely to have you on the program. We don't always get the opportunity to talk to someone in your position. So let me ask two other questions. The first question is, are there any particular claims that, we see storm damage, we see people who haven't maintained their roofs and things like that. And on the motor side, I'm not quite sure, but maybe you can help with it. Are there any particular areas that you could share with consumers what they need to do to avoid having to end up having a claim repudiated or ending up at your office?
I think, first of all, consumers don't always read their policy wordings. I know that they're not the most exciting documents to read, and so they are actually quite surprised or taken aback that there's an exclusion like that at all. Consumers also make the mistake of thinking that if they pay their premiums, all losses, all types of damage will be covered, when we know that that would be totally unsustainable. And so those are the two biggest, I think, errors. Most of our complaints are generated from motor vehicle insurance because that is the bulk of the products in the personal line space, is insurance policies on motor vehicles. So most of our complaints are generated in that area of insurance, followed...
Can you be a little bit more descriptive when you say, I'm trying to think, you have a motor car accident,
Yes.
What is there to repudiate it? I can understand driving under the influence of alcohol and all that, but generally, you know...
So accident damage is the highest number of complaints under motor vehicle insurance, followed by mechanical breakdown and also theft and hijacks. When it comes to accidental damage, a lot of the disputes are generated from the exclusion that's relied on by insurers, that you didn't take due care, that you acted recklessly when you were driving under the influence of alcohol. And then there are also a lot of disputes around the repairs that were done by the insurer's service provider, by the panel beater. They claim that the repairs were shoddy, not up to standard, or the delays in having vehicles repaired. A lot of the vehicles in our market, parts are not available, they have to be ordered, so there usually are delays. So it's those types of complaints. On homeowners' side, it's claims rejected because although the insured says there was a storm and as a result of the storm my roof leaked, when the insurer sends out an assessor, it establishes actually it was a lack of maintenance. The roof was worn, it wasn't maintained, and that was actually what caused the damage, not the storm. And what they're able to do as well is have a look at their records and their data and establish, although there was a storm, there was no other claim in the area for storm damage, and they insure X number of properties in the area, meaning the storm was not of such a severity, such as a disaster, that actually resulted in the damage. The damage was caused because you haven't maintained your roof.
Before we take our break, I'm going to say something. Artificial intelligence is going to change everything. When you talk about insurers knowing they have a certain amount of homes in that particular area, and they're able to establish what you just said. And I also want to just when you come back, particularly when you spoke about due care and that type of thing, how insurance companies improve it, but improve it. So let me take our break. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.